Batman Santa Claus Silent Night issue 4. Jeff Parker writing with Danny Kim and Steven Segovia on the art. So it seems like they had to really break out some different artists to make sure this got done all in time.
Yep.
Because I had a very strict release schedule, being this Christmas book over the 4 weeks. So yeah, it was a fun conclusion. Like, I had a good time. It's not.
Yeah, it was fine. It kind of, when it's revealed of who's behind everything, it was kind of a letdown to me, just because it kind of felt like, I don't know. I felt like they built it up to be something bigger, and then what they ended up being was kind of like, oh, okay, this is fine.
I thought you would be into the idea of some of the people in the Phantom Zone being there so long that they're basically just ghosts now. I thought you might have been into that.
I mean, that's part of the lore. Like, that's fine. But, like, I was starting to think maybe Eclipso, right? Something along the lines.
Whoa, Matt. This is the last issue of this book. There was no way they were introducing Eclipso and dealing with it in the same issue.
I think they could have. I think when he's dealing with possession and that type of stuff, and even the Black Diamond and all of these things, the corrupting power of it, maybe that has something to do with Krampus. But I mean, yeah, Ghost from the Phantom Zone, Ghost showing up on Christmas is an old thing, right?
3 ghosts at that.
Yeah, exactly. So it does play into it, but I'm not gonna lie and say that I wasn't a tad underwhelmed, but I did like a lot of the little moments. I mean, happen in this one.
Damien's held captive by Krampus, and Damien basically tries to get out of it by playing the role of scared child and saying that he won't do bad anymore, which makes Krampus not want to kill him, because the spirit inside him is like, kill him, kill the boy. Yeah. And he's like, no, because he's scared into not wanting to do bad things. And obviously,
which is what Krampus wants.
Yeah. And Damien's just playing the part, of course, but he, so... Yeah, they use Blue Beetle to kryptonite the hell out of Superman, who's possessed with 2 of the spirits.
Yeah. Overclocks the Scarab, though. So it wasn't something that I knew that that Kaji Da could. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, there's a bit of an avalanche, then some more of the Justice League show up to help, which is all fine and well. Clark's like, I recognize what those spirits were. They were for the Phantom Zone. So it actually ties in that where Krampus was stuck was the Phantom Zone, which is really funny, actually, from a lore perspective. But basically, Santa can send children through trees, and that sort of brings in the idea of the Christmas tree. And then that's how he knows where kids are all over the world, is because the trees act as like a conduit. So he basically figures out where Damien is by feeling the trees, and they go and get him. Fight Krampus, but Krampus ends up helping a little bit and is reunited with Santa, and Santa takes him on his sleigh ride with him for Christmas night. But also Damien, because he's like, hey, we can't make up for what happened to you, but we can give you a nicer childhood.
You deserve to be a kid for once.
Yeah, because apparently Damien, when he was 5 years old, asked for a satellite system to monitor his enemies, and he never got it. So Santa's like, why don't you come on a sleigh ride?
I mean, he was trying to start the OMAC project at 5. So good on you, Santa, for sparing us.
It's pretty funny. So yeah, it's got a typical Christmas movie style ending where Santa's leaving in the sleigh and everyone's waving goodbye. And Santa says, hey, use my workshop to have a big dinner. Time doesn't move here the same way as the rest of the world. So all of the Justice League don't have to worry about the world needing help, because while you're here, time's not moving forward. So the Justice League get a big Christmas dinner together where they all get to be happy. And that's the end of the issue. So, yeah. It was a fun arc. I think it was a really fun little Christmas book. Maybe it could have used a 5th issue just to sort of flesh out the last chunk of it a bit. It felt like there was a lot being explained here and wrapping up quite quickly. But I think all things considered, I had a good time with it.
Yeah, no, it was still pretty good. I did love what Jeff Parker did with Santa lore and just Christmas lore in general. Like you brought up the stuff with the trees. That came from people bringing something that was green inside for winter was going to be dark and dreary. So it was, like a promise of the spring to come. But the fact that he ties in, yeah, Santa can kind of sense things through trees. And that's why we have the Christmas tree. Because they also, I think it was in the last issue, how they get to the North Pole was through like a tree portal.
Yeah, that sounds right.
So that played in as well. And just the idea of Santa as kind of this pagan demigod, that has its roots in these Christmas traditions. I also like, so again, if Jeff Parker gets to do this every year and we get a new, DC Santa story, I think that would be cool. Where, I don't know what other adventures to do because he kind of, I always think you work towards Krampus, but he came with Krampus out of the gate. So, a Damien and Krampus story would be fun.
I don't think he was planning in like having a sequel, so he had no reason to save Krampus.
No, I understand that, but like I do want a Damien Krampus special sometime. You know what I mean? Where Krampus is trying not to carry him off because Damien is kind of a terrible child, so him trying to carry him off, I think, would be funny. But yeah, and pretty okay. So last chapter was okay, probably the weakest of them for me. But it started with such a bang that it's kind of hard to maintain that, Yeah,
I think I probably like the first 2 issues more than 3 and 4. I think I'd say that. I will say the art definitely felt a bit more all over the place with this issue, having the 2 different artists, neither of which I think were on any of the previous issues either, so
yep.
Definitely felt a little bit more inconsistent. Segovia can be solid, but this did feel a little bit rushed in places. I think it was definitely the worst art I had this week, which, don't get me wrong, I had a lot of good art and a lot of books this week, but this one definitely stuck out as being the only one where I was like, this was only just kind of serviceable at best. So it is what it is. So, all right, what are you giving Silent Night issue 4?
It was a 6.5.
Okay. I think I'm happy enough to just give it the 7, but
there you go.
That's fair enough.